So here I am applying gold leaf to the Rutland Psalter. This is actually the first time that I applied real gold leaf. Before, whenever I would use gold leaf, it was always imitation gold leaf. So this was quite an interesting process for me. I'm doing it here with just a simple size or a glue. It's a water-based glue. And you can see me applying it here. That's that kind of shiny surface that I'm applying there. And then the gold goes on top of that, and it's actually a very simple, easy process. The only trick really is that you need to get the size on the paper absolutely smoothly, otherwise the gold will have bumps in it. There is one downside to doing it with a simple size, is that you can't burnish the gold afterwards really, because you'll basically scrape the gold off the paper, and well, that doesn't look good. When you apply gesso and clay bowl onto the paper, later on you can go over the gold with an agate stone and burnish it, and that makes it shine a lot more. However, I actually do like this more muted shine from the gold. It just creates a different effect, and one that I'm sure that I will use in the future as well. I don't always have to use the clay bowl technique. Sometimes that can be a little bit too difficult to get around really delicate corners. So one of the things that I discovered with this is that adding little bits of gold at a time is actually better than putting a sheet over top of it and then just wiping it away, because you save on the gold. I used, I think it was almost 10 sheets at one point to get around the edges, and I think the center, and then I needed to get another 10 sheets to finish the rest. And I quickly figured out that by adding the little pieces rather than just putting a whole sheet of paper over a section was a way to drastically save on the gold, which is a good thing, because even though it's not all that expensive, it does add up eventually. So here I am adding the size again, and sometimes you'll see me going over the gold leaf again afterwards with my calligraphy pen. I'm adding a black line around the shapes, and that's something that you find a lot in medieval art, is they go over all the shapes that they created with dark ink. Some of them tend to use not the totally black ink like this one does, but they use colors that are more just darker than the main color of that section, so it's a little bit more blended. But this piece, the original, outlines everything in a dark black ink. And so in order to smoothen out the edges, I go over it with a calligraphy pen, a pointed pen in this case, exactly as you see me doing here. I find it difficult myself, maybe that's just poor technique on my side, to make sure that the size goes on exactly where I want it to go. And so the size is sticky and it slurps up the gold, and then the gold is where I don't want it to go. So it's very easy to go over it again with a calligraphy pen and just get those lines nice and straight again.